My name's Brian Fox. I live in Turner, Montana. My folks and I have a farm and ranch located 10 miles north of Turner, and this property here is located in Phillips County. I bought the property from a land auction in 2012, and then the next spring I noticed that I had some trees that had some beaver rings around them. It just triggered me to get rid of the beavers because I wanted to see the trees. So I hired a local trapper to come in here, and we got rid of a couple of beavers. Well, later on that year, as the summer and fall progressed, it got dry and the creek started drying up. And I thought, where is all the water going? And so we went upstream, and I went over into my neighbor's property, less than 100 yards into his property, and here was a beaver dam. And the beavers that we trapped out, they migrated up further upstream, and they just shut the water off to my whole property right then. And so I didn't know what to do and panicked, and I had a well drilled, and it solved the issue. And my cows, they had to walk from, 2 miles to the west to here, and I wasn't getting good, grazing. It wasn't happening with the livestock. A few years later, I ran into Hunter Van Donsel at our local NRCS office. Great guy, really helped me get set up there, and I applied for the Conservation Stewardship Program, CSB. We're going through the enhancements, and we're discussing what we should do, basically on my farm ground, not so much pertaining to the pasture down here. And he just threw out, let's build some beaver dams. Let's see what happens. And I said, okay, let's try it.
So we're working with Brian. This place is in North Phillips County. It's kind of a secondary location for sage grouse work in our area. It has a population, but not a super strong one, and not a super successful and growing population with a lot of threats facing it. So we work a lot in this area to kind of preserve where habitat is and work to expand it elsewhere. And one way we do that is beaver dam analogs. The idea is it helps water stay on the landscape longer, and water equates to higher sources of protein through plants and bugs. Brood habitat, when the chicks are getting older into the fall, is what actually drives the success of sage grouse populations. So here on Brian's place, one of the largest sage grouse leks in North Phillips is just kind of over across the creek here on that flat. So this is a known area for sage grouse.
We got to have more of these. This is helping the environment, it's helping the water, it's trapping it so I can get better utilization for my grazing. Yeah, I regret hiring the trapper to get rid of those beavers right off the bat, but I guess you live and learn.
I got connected with Brian through Hunter Van Donsel, who works for Pheasants Forever. We talked about doing the Canada Conservation Agreement, we talked about doing beaver dam analogs, and then we were also talking about Brian's need for a grazing system. And so that grazing system was something that we didn't have funding for, and so that's where we went to the Rancher Stewardship Alliance Conservation Committee and presented a proposal, explaining the project and asking for funding for that.
Brian's property in North Phillips also lies on some of the largest intact antelope migration routes. So we've worked with the Fox family on some fence improvements so antelope can better pass under. We're on the Woody Island corridor, which is a huge native range corridor that connects Canada down through north central Montana and actually provides connectivity to winter ranges on the CMR refuge on Fort Peck and even further south than that. So we're trying to keep these areas intact as far as a native range scape so that animals have a better migration habitat, have a better localized habitat, and have improved food sources through improved grazing management for all of that.
If you don't have somebody doing something actively and people seeing that, the neighbors or anything else won't understand or realize what you're trying to do. Ever since I started doing this, another neighbor of mine, he got involved with doing the BDAs and with the Nature Conservancy, also got into the sage grouse monitoring program and everything else. So by seeing the work that's been happening down here, it's really helped the neighbors understand, hey, maybe we do have something that's kind of precious here and we need to keep it safe and do more for the land. I mean, we need to use it. It's got to be used as an agricultural base, but for the environment and the wildlife, we also need to protect it for that as well.